According to The Loop, one person was killed and two others critically injured after a 2003 Honda Accord hit a utility pole in the town of Mamaroneck early Sunday morning and burst into flames, said Lieutenant James Maher of the town of Mamaroneck Police Department. The incident took place around 2:37 a.m. on April 11th in front of 1395 West Boston Post Road, a storefront for Advanced Auto Parts.
On April 6, New York State lawmakers passed a $2.1 billion relief fund for excluded workers, which is projected to offer aid to nearly 300,000 New Yorkers who haven't received any financial help from the government since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic. The success of the fund is largely due to the efforts that the Community Resource Center has put in to ensure the inclusion of the fund in the New York State budget. The Community Resource Center is a nonprofit organization located in Mamaroneck, New York. Their mission is to empower and integrate immigrants locally and throughout Westchester County. The Community Resource Center actively supported the Essential Excluded Workers campaign, which was seeking New York State Governor Andrew Cuomo to provide a $3.5 billion fund for immigrant essential workers who have been on the front lines of the pandemic but haven't received any aid from the government. In an interview with LMC, Janet Fry, the Deputy Executive Director for CRC, described the importance of providing this fund to the excluded essential workers in New York.
Most of those undocumented workers got sick with COVID, and some of them lost their lives because they didn't have access to hospitals. They didn't have access to healthcare, and those families, especially the ones who lost their breadwinner, have access to this fund, which is something that, for us was very important.
The Community Resource Center has worked alongside other organizations and coalitions to bring the necessity of this fund to the attention of state lawmakers. Starting March 18th, they organized a hunger strike in Westchester County to demand action. Janet Fry, who organized and participated in the strike, gives insight into why people chose to take part in the hunger strike.
Our community is already dying, our community is already hungry, starving, and they are not choosing that. So I prefer to choose this for a cause that our community, deserves.
After 23 days of the hunger strike, lawmakers passed the $2.1 billion Excluded Workers Fund. This is the first program of its kind in the country. During an interview with LMC, Gerandy Martinez, the executive director for CRC, explained the role that the community played in getting the fund to be passed and claims that this fund could be a model for other states to follow as well.
I think Westchester County played a critical role, as we've said in our meetings, for getting this fund passed. And this serves as hopefully a role model for other communities that are hoping to either pass a fund or legislation. It can be done. It just requires organizing.
Despite the hardships the excluded essential workers have faced within the past year, this fund undoubtedly provides hope for many people and will hopefully stop the suffering that many endured due to their immigrant status.
And now for this week's COVID updates. According to westchestergov.com and the Westchester County COVID-19 dashboard, COVID numbers have been on a relatively steady streak this past week. In Larchmont, there are a recorded 20 cases, and in Mamaroneck Village, there are a recorded 116. As for the vaccine, thousands are being administered around the state, and Governor Cuomo has stated multiple times that we are trying to get as many people vaccinated as possible. Although, according to the New York Times, the CDC panel is saying more time is needed to assess the risks and data associated with the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. It has been recorded that one person has died from blood clotting and another is in critical condition, possibly from the Johnson & Johnson vaccine.
Mr. Rizzuti stated that our current virtual show, Silver Light, will come down by the end of April, and we will be preparing for our spring virtual show. We have decided to include our AP Art Concentration show as a separate section of that upcoming spring show. For the second year in a row, and second year ever, we have video students submitting AP 2D design portfolios. I don't know of many, if any, local high schools have video submissions. We are planning to run a new course next year, Murals and Public Art, which will be taught by Kevin Klein. It will be a course focusing on making large-scale works for school community outside of traditional art gallery viewings. The course will also include installations and performance art if the students in the class are interested.